All right, good morning, everybody. Give us just a minute here and we will get started. Excellent, we are all set. Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for this Westy Live. My name is Jamie Chavez. I'm the president and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and we usually do these broadcasts on Wednesday. So you can join us on Wednesdays to hear about our newest chamber members, introduce them, and give them a chance to talk to you about their business. But we're doing a special one this Friday, so thanks for joining us. If this is your first time joining the broadcast, a special welcome to you. Thanks for being here. And if you're on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page. That way you'll get future notifications for when we go live. And if you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe and explore all of our previous broadcasts there as well. We also offer broadcasts on Monday, which are all about city updates, featuring interviews with our mayor, councilors, mayor pro tem, and other city staff. And so that broadcast City Hall. So we hope you join us for those as well. And as you watch the broadcast this morning, don't be shy. Feel free to drop any comments, say hello in the comment section, and we will get to those during the interview. And now finally, a warm welcome to Matthew Deere with Cenco Roofing. How are you today?
Anybody that's been in the Denver metro area more than a few years realizes that there are a lot of roofers out there. And Cenco never professes to be the biggest. But what we try to do is help customers to solve their problems relative to roofing, and in doing that, their home will continue to protect what for most people is their most valuable asset, in addition to being the place where they have memories and family. And it's really important to us to do that.
Awesome. And how did you get into this industry?
That's a short story and a long story at the same time. By training, I'm actually an anthropologist.
Interesting.
Anthropology. When I got out of graduate school, I took a job with a tech firm in Boulder, and I thought that that would be part of my career history. That firm migrated back to Australia. It was an Australian company, migrated back to Australia shortly after I joined. And I found myself unemployed, asking, well, what's the next step? And I had a friend in graduate school who was in the roofing business. And he said, Matt, why don't you come out and try the roofing business? His name was Mike. I said, Mike, I don't know anything about construction, and I'm actually terrible with my hands. And he said, well, if you enjoy helping people, then there's probably room for you in our industry. And I joined his company, and fast forward 24 years, I'm still in the roofing business.
Yeah.
What's kept me in the business is, in addition to helping people put roofs on houses and restore their homes, we really solve problems every day. And there's a certain amount of satisfaction that I get in helping, knowing that we've helped people to solve problems that they have. Jamie, it's not a surprise. No one calls because they want to talk to a roofer. Nobody calls our company because they want to chat about, homes, et cetera. They call us because they have problems.
Yeah.
And I know that there are a lot of people in the area and who have had good experiences, but also bad experiences with roofing companies. And I'm here to say that there are a lot of dedicated roofing professionals that are trying to raise the standards and raise the experiences that people have. And that's why we continue to show up every day.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask what sets Cenco Roofing apart from other roofing companies. There are so many roofing companies out there, and we all get the knocks on the door that are like, hey, can we inspect your roof? It looks like you've got damage. And so what sets Cenco apart?
Well, a couple of things I'd like to address about that. The first is, people always say, and it is a terrible nuisance in the aftermath of a natural disaster when someone's door gets knocked on 85, 95, 100 times. And I like to tell people say, I would never buy from a door knocker. The reality of it is, if people didn't buy from door knockers wouldn't exist. Now, as a company, Cenco, I did come up that way in the business. With my first job, they gave me a bunch of business cards and said, go talk to people. Here you are. We don't knock doors. We haven't since the beginning of the company, actually. But there still is a need in the marketplace, especially in the aftermath of a natural disaster, for people that need an instant service provider. And that is a lot of our business. I would say, and the statistics I use are a little bit stale, but Colorado Roofing Association one time recognized that there were 7,600 roofing companies in the Denver metro area.
Holy cow.
You literally couldn't throw a baseball and not hit a roofer at one point. And a lot of that is dependent on weather. And so over the last 6 years, we went a period of about 4 years without a hailstorm. And that number then reduced from 7,600 to about 5,000. We had hail in 2023 and 24. And roofers, unfortunately, they go dormant. They very rarely go out of business. So they came back into the market. But last year, we didn't have any hail. And unfortunately for the many good companies in our industry, and I'm proud to be in my industry, that creates a lot of noise and confusion for consumers.
Mm-hmm.
What sets Cenco apart? We're not the biggest company, but we are a company that focuses on delivering good results for our customers. It may be a vestige. I was a school teacher at one point in my life, but we believe in educating our customers, and we believe in educating and training our employees as well. So we're heavily focused on making sure that our employees are well trained, that they continue to do continuing education every year. We have certifications and memberships, not only with the National Roofing Contractors Association and the Colorado Roofing Association, but also with many other industry leaders, the Fortified Roofing Program, for example. And we also are a member of chambers of commerce across the metro area, including Westminster Chamber. We really feel it's important for us to be a part of the fabric of the communities that we service. That being said, a particular thing that sets Cenco aside, and is part of my own bent, is that we really believe in community involvement. Without the community, we wouldn't be here. The community is our customers. And so we, as a company, are committed to giving 2% of our top line revenue to charitable donations every year. That takes several forms, but one of the biggest charities with whom we're involved is an organization called Rebuilding Together, Colorado. And Rebuilding Together is an organization, not for profit, that helps people to age in place in their existing homes. One of the largest things that we've seen over the last few years in the Denver metro area is the radical increase in the cost of housing. And it's great if you own a home because you've seen your home values go up. But what about the family that's been in their home for 30 to 50 years? Grandma or great grandma bought the house. We've got grandma, we've got 2 or 3 generations living in the home. They own it free and clear, but now grandma and grandpa are getting older and they need home repairs. They have all the equity in the house. The house is worth $300,000, but everything around them is now worth $1 million. And so grandma and grandpa can't move. And grandma and grandpa need to have wheelchair access. They need to have safety gear put in the house. They need to have it accessible and made livable for them to continue to age in place. And so what Rebuilding does is, Rebuilding Together Colorado, it goes in and completes those repairs at no cost to the homeowner. And so that's one of the charities, one example of the way that that Cenco contributes to the community.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned hail. We live in Colorado. Hail normally is like basically a whole season around here. What should property owners be doing to prepare for that season and, try to minimize damage or at least know when damage occurs?
That's really good. There's 2 answers to that question. The first is lots of people don't want to get up on their roof. And lots of people don't realize that the roof is a living system and it requires ongoing maintenance. So we encourage homeowners to either engage somebody or do the work themselves to make sure that the roof is clear of debris, that anything that is apparent, missing shingles, gets taken care of in a timely fashion. So to prevent a small thing from becoming a large thing. And we recommend that they do that in the spring and that they do that in the fall. So in preparation for the winter and then coming out of the winter. The second thing with regards to ongoing awareness is the insurance market itself is changing, and we encourage people to evaluate their policies on an annual basis. What we've seen in Colorado over the last decade is, due to the risk of hail, wildfires, ice damming, etc., There has been a concurrent rise in the cost of policies, but also in the responsibility, the deductible portions, responsibility that homeowners pay. And so it used to be when I came in the business, and I don't want to tell you how old I am, but it's been a while, deductibles were $50. And so it was a small cost to pay for offsetting damage to the house. Now it is not uncommon for deductibles to be a percentage of the value of the house. So as the value of the houses rise, people's obligation under their policy rises as well. We met with a woman in the last 6 weeks who had very legitimate hail damage to her house. And we asked her about her policy. Well, her policy, the way that it was written, her deductible is $31,000.
Yeah,
So
that's quite a deductible.
absolutely, I was shocked. However, if she's not, that situation is not uncommon. As it becomes more and more common, we ask people to review their policies so that they're aware that even if something happens, it's a natural disaster, that they have a financial obligation that they're going to be required to pay under the terms of that policy. So that's something that catches a lot of people by surprise. And that's one of the things that I'm very thankful for this conversation to help educate people to review the policy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important right now. I've heard from a lot of people in your industry that it's important to review your insurance right now just for that very reason. So that's great advice. Thanks. How can someone tell if they have hail damage, even if it's not obvious? Are there things to look for?
Sure, there are a couple things. First and foremost, you'll see granules, missing granules. That's the little grit that covers the shingles.
Like the little gravelly stuff? Okay.
Yeah, you'll see that either in your gutters, or oftentimes after a rainstorm, you'll see it start to accumulate outside your downspouts. That's the symbol. Part of that is natural aging. And so the roof is designed to shed those granules. But if you see an undue accumulation of those in your gutters or around the downspouts after rainstorms, that might be a signal there's something going on with the roof. It may not be hail, but it may be something else. But it certainly is warranted to call. Another thing that we are starting to see, and this segues into technology, which is radically changing our industry. But we're starting to see a lot of services, our own included, that will offer you the opportunity to evaluate the impact of potential storms that have hit your home over a period of time. So you can Google affecting storms, be they wind storms or hail storms or snowstorms. And there are services that will tell you, hey, you may have been affected by a storm in this area. If you're out of town and you went through a hailstorm, or you're out of town and you went through a wind event, you may not even be aware of them. But those tools are becoming increasingly prevalent and available to homeowners to do their research about what might have affected their home.
Awesome. And how quickly should someone act after storm damage?
In general, as quickly as possible. Unbeknownst to many homeowners, they have a contractual obligation with their insurance carrier to take care of their home. So if they have sustained damage or suspect that they've sustained damage, they have an obligation to mitigate that until their carrier is able to come out and evaluate the damage, whether that's a temporary repair or hiring somebody to cover windows or a portion of the roof. They have the obligation until the carrier is able to come out and verify that damage.
One thing I heard from an insurance agent recently was that, and maybe you've touched on this a little bit already, was that they are actually recommending to their clients that folks get an annual inspection so that they know that the roof is in good condition prior to a hailstorm, so that they can prove that the hailstorm was what actually caused the damage to be able to get that coverage. Yeah,
absolutely. And you touch on a good point. We offer an annual inspection service and an annual maintenance program that does exactly that. It documents on an annual basis, a snapshot in time, if you will, the condition of a roof, so that should the house go through a weather event, we're able to discern at what point that weather event affected the house. In addition, things fail on the roofs, and they fail on a pretty regular basis. For example, in the wintertime, we have a freeze and thaw cycle. Shingles become disadhered or unglued from each other, and then normal winds, for which shingles might be rated, can cause damage. So, for example, anybody that lived in the foothills I happen to live in Evergreen right now, and we had 110-mile-an-hour winds not too long ago. Most shingles, properly installed, are rated for 110-mile-an-hour winds. But in the winter months, that may create a larger problem than it would otherwise cause if those winds happen in July, for example.
Yeah.
Sealants around pipe jacks, sealants around other items can become, because they're exposed to this ultraviolet rays of the sun, they can break down, and that can be a leak penetration point. And so on an annual basis, we recommend that customers have a licensed roofing contractor come out and evaluate their roof and recommend and fix things that need to be done.
Awesome. Thank you. And for commercial property owners or like retail centers, what are the unique roofing concerns that those folks should be aware of?
There are two that I'd like to talk about. The first and foremost, relative to commercial roofing, most commercial roofs are flat. And they have a parapet wall or a little curb around the outside of the building. In essence, that creates a baking dish. And so the thermal effects of our solar radiation here across the Front Range is exacerbated for commercial roofing. So it's not uncommon if we get weather temperature in the 80s and 90s for a commercial roof to be 150, 160, 170 degrees. And if you're under the building and it's air conditioned inside, you don't realize what the effect of that heat can have. But it wreaks havoc on the glues that are used to seal roofing in and to protect the roof. And so we recommend that those building owners also have those inspections and that repair work done on a periodic, regular basis.
And when should a business consider repair versus replaced? Are you guys able to, provide recommendations in that way?
Yeah. Many roofers are not going to want to hear this, but most buildings just need repairs if they need anything at all. If the cost of a repair is going to exceed 40% of the cost of replacing a roof, we start to have the conversation with building owners and homeowners about, here's what needs to be done today, but you should start to plan or look at the cost of your roof replacement in the future.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this, honestly, is not a statistic. It's statistics from the National Roofing Contractors Association, because it surprises people. Since COVID, roofing costs have gone up 41%. I would love to tell you that goes to the installers and to the roofing companies. Sadly, it's not. It's a combination of increases in material costs as well as labor.
Yeah, that's crazy. So going back to costs and insurance, I feel like people can find roofing and insurance and that, how to navigate that overwhelming. So how do you help your clients navigate that claims process?
So what we do is based on our experience. As a company, we've processed with customers, we've worked with customers through insurance projects on more than 11,000 projects. We help to guide customers on the steps that they need, help them to understand what their obligations are and their responsibilities under the terms of their policy are, and help them to navigate then the steps of how the claims process works. Understand, I'm not a public license adjuster. I'm simply a contractor that has been through that process many, many, many times. Insurance is nothing more than a contract. And when you reduce it down, there are responsibilities both on the behalf of the policyholder as well as the insurance company. And so we help our customers to understand what their responsibilities are and how they best need to operate in order to successfully navigate that process.
Awesome. And so kind of Colorado specific, what are some of the roofing materials, which roofing materials, I guess, perform best here in Colorado?
So I'll take a step back because it's Colorado specific. One of the challenges of roofing in Colorado and being a consumer in Colorado is we don't have a statewide building code. Mm-hmm. So for Cenco to operate, we actually have 67 separate licenses, and we have to deal with 67 different building municipalities. And so
67 because you've got a license in every municipality. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, our service area runs from Fort Collins down to Pueblo.
Yeah.
We go out into the mountains as far as Summit County.
Okay.
But that being said,
that's a full-time job keeping up with that.
It really is. We have a person here that exclusively does that work.
Yeah.
But it's understanding what the code requirements are in the municipality in which your home or your business operates, and to make sure that you're in compliance with that. Though that technology has also been a friend to us because that information is now mostly publicly available to consumers, so they can look at what their building department is and look at the code requirements. That said, we as a company strongly encourage our customers to explore roof impact resistant, either shingles or impact resistant roof coverings. I say impact resistant, not impact proof, because there no such thing exists.
Yeah.
But at this stage of the game, with the history that we've had, if a customer can put a roof on and that roof can endure 3, 4, 5, or 6 hailstorms, it reduces the amount of times that customer has to go through the insurance claims process. So,
how long? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Now, the other thing I would say about that is we also encourage customers to explore and adopt fire-resistant materials. We've seen the effect of forest fires used to be related only in the mountains. Now we've seen it across the Front Range. And so building departments are adopting increased class fire ratings and also energy efficiency ratings that affect the selection of products and materials that we use.
Got it. No, that's great information. Thank you. How long should a roof realistically last here in Colorado?
Oh, that's a gamble. I'm not in the gambling business, but what I will say is a 30-year rated product in Southern California will last 30 or 40 years. A 30-year rated product here with the freeze-thaw cycle and some of the weather that we get in Colorado usually lasts about half of that time.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I always like to ask, like, what are some common myths in your industry? Like, are there any things that people think about roofing or roofs that you encounter and you're like, that's just not true?
Well, I would say this, and this is a scary statistic. In the roofing business, in Colorado also, as well, 96% of roofing contractors fail within the first 48 months of business. And so if it sounds cheap, it probably is. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. What I encourage people to do is always do their research. Look for roofing contractors that are parts of associations like the Colorado Roofing Association and the National Roofing Contractors Association. Look at contractors that are embedded in their community, that are engaged. We did have a lot of contractors, and we do in the aftermath of big storms, that come in from out of state. But what's happened over the last 10 years is those out of state contractors have become Colorado contractors. So they came and they stayed. Does that make them bad contractors? It doesn't. But you want to have the peace of mind that if you have a problem in January for a roof that got installed in July, that contractor is going to be available and going to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to do their research. Read the reviews, look for the associations, interview the contractor. Are they going to be a fit for you? Cenco is not a fit for everybody. And we want to make sure that our customers have done their research, feel comfortable with what we offer, and are comfortable with the products and selection that we're going to provide them.
Awesome. Thank you. And you did mention energy efficient options. Maybe you can touch on that a little bit.
Sure. And that's really, really important for commercial building owners. Every 3 years, the building code gets revised. And so 2024, the revisions came out. It's going to come out again in 2027. And those codes are based on actually 3 separate building codes. The International Building Code, IBC, the International Residential Code, IRC, and the International Energy Conservation Code, IECC. It is the hope for municipalities that building envelopes will become more energy efficient. It sounds great. Who doesn't appreciate that? But if I'm a building owner and I've had my building 15 years and I now have to have it replaced, the roof of the building replaced, and the building code used to call for an energy efficiency of R19, and now it calls for R38, which is what the current standard is in the city of Denver. I have to add a significant amount of insulation to accommodate that energy efficiency. It's great if I'm designing a building because I can build my walls around the energy requirements.
Yeah.
It's really a challenge sometimes for existing buildings to add 5 to 7 inches of insulation on top of their existing roof. And so those are the challenges that we as roofing professionals have to address when we look at the scope of damage and when we're preparing proposals for customers.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We've got a few more minutes. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you would like people to know either about roofing or Cenco?
Well, what I'd like to say is just that what I'd like to touch on is the tools available to consumers and available to roofing contractors. The technology is changing so rapidly. At the end of the day, as I tell people, I want to put a good roof on a house. I want to do a good roof repair for a house. But the advent of artificial intelligence, AI technology, is radically changing both people's expectations of the market and the information that they have at their fingertips to help them make informed decisions.
Yeah.
If you had told me 24 years ago I would be dealing with AI bots and we would have all these tools available, I would have told you were crazy. I see a hammer. But at the end of the day, those tools are radically changing our business. So the roofing that you see in 2026 is not the roofing you're going to see in 2028. And we encourage our customers and for other roofing contractors out there, stay current with the tools that are available to you. It is amazing.
One thing I was thinking about, are you able to use drones to do inspections?
So that technology exists. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We as a company do not use drones. I'm a little bit old school. I want to have my field techs put hands on everything. But we do have amazing GPS technology available now so that we can pull up measurements. We can pull up proposals based on your actual house and give you recommendations, all done from behind the computer. At the end of the day, though, Jamie, nothing is a substitute for a guy up on a ladder looking at your roof physically to tell you what they see and make sure that it is a reflection of reality.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I wanted to bring up, you've got your ribbon cutting coming up. I think it's April 9th, right? At 11.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's down in Lakewood, so it's a little further, but we're encouraging people to make the trip down if they can get away for, a little bit and come and celebrate you guys joining the chamber and the community. So April 9th at 11. Hope everyone can make that.
We appreciate that. We'll have refreshments and snacks for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Looking forward to it. Well, Matt, thanks for joining me today. And thanks for everybody who tuned in with us and everybody who's going to rewatch this. We appreciate it. And happy Friday.
Thank you, Jamie. We appreciate it. Jamie, we appreciate you. We appreciate the chamber. Should anybody have direct questions about roofing, please go to our website, which is cencoroofing.com, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you can't answer yourself there.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy